We will now begin the evaluation contest. All evaluation contestants will evaluate our test speaker, Jamal George, the obstacle. The obstacle, Jamal George.
I'm buzzing with experience. I'm sure you can tell. It's March 2022. I crush the interview for the job of my dreams. I ace every question. I connect effortlessly with the panel, and I walk out feeling like Wonder Woman. This is it, I think, the breakthrough I have been waiting for. A few days later, an email pops up. Thank you for your interest. Unfortunately, we regret to inform you. My heart sinks. I'm not Wonder Woman anymore. I'm a woman just wondering, what will I do now? My income, the bills, and my college. My daughter Jane's college future. That's the hardest part to swallow. Have you ever felt like that? The door to your dreams has been slammed in your face. Maybe you're fresh off a painful breakup. Maybe the well-deserved promotion went to someone else. Or maybe you tried to be healthy, but somehow ended up eating an entire pizza while watching fitness videos. We've all been there. Setbacks that leave us asking, why me? I sink into a chair, defeated. My dreams shattered. My confidence in pieces. I do what any emotionally mature, highly self-aware adult would do. I open Instagram. And between a cat doing circular spins and someone's gym selfie, a quote jumps out to me from Ryan Holiday's "Obstacle is the way. What stands in the way is the way." Wait, what? The obstacle is the way? The no I just got is the way? It's so easy for you, Ryan, to say this because you're the best-selling author. But me, I have bills to pay and my daughter's future on the line. But somehow, those words still linger. So I download the book. And with every chapter, something shifts inside me. What if this rejection isn't happening to me, but for me? Ryan introduces 3 powerful ideas: perception, action, will. He shares a story about Thomas Edison. When Edison's factory burns down, years of work reduces to ashes. He didn't crumble. He said, "Thank goodness all our mistakes are burnt up. Now we can start fresh." In Obstacle, Edison saw opportunity. Maybe that rejection email, instead of obstacle, could be an opportunity. So I shift my perception. Not sure if it's a breakthrough or just my brain buffering, but still, I'm making progress. But perception alone, not enough. Because without action, it's just a thought. So instead of sulking, I rebuild my resume and I apply again and again and again. Here's the real secret. Taking action when you don't have all the answers. And then there is will, the strength to accept setbacks and to move forward. I may not control everything, but I do control how I respond. So I push on. More rejections, more silence, more we regret to inform you. Each one stings, but I don't let them stop me. Frustration whispers, but I meet it with a deep silence. And Ryan's words return to me. What stands in the way becomes the way. I let the words sink in and I evolve. Each no becomes fuel. Each setback a lesson. I take courses, build new skills, find mentors who challenge me, tackle side projects, and above all, I move forward and show up every single day. 4 months later, an email pops up. My heart races. I brace myself. Unfortunately, we regret to inform you. But not this time. Those words never come. This time, there's only one word. Congratulations! Not just any offer, the best one. Fulfilling, empowering, life-changing. And Jane, her college journey is fully secure. Looking back, that rejection email felt like a roadblock, but in reality, it was a doorway. By shifting my perception, taking relentless action, and harnessing my will, I turned obstacle into opportunity. And so can you. The setbacks that seem to hold you back could be the very stepping stone that can propel you forward. Because the obstacle isn't in your way, it is the way.
All right, we've excused our evaluators, but it's our chance to celebrate our test speaker. Please help me. We re-welcome Jamal George. So, this is my fun part when I get to interview you and ask you some questions. The most important thing that I did not hear in your story is which toppings were on that pizza.
It was supreme.
Supreme, everything, just bring it all there. Sounds like the pizza might have been an obstacle as well. Fantastic.
It was delicious and tempting.
Yes, yeah, very nice. So, Jamal, tell us about your Toastmasters journey. What got you into Toastmasters? How long, and what have you been up to recently?
Oh, I love to say that. I came to Toastmasters in 2016. My husband, every Saturday, will go to one place when I had small babies, and he won't come back home. After 2 or 3 hours only he'll come back home. And there are times he would go to Costco and get a whole bunch of things, and he says, we have Toastmasters meeting. I still never understood what Toastmasters is, but it seems like he had so much fun. And then he asked me to check it out. But then, things weren't working because, somebody has to babysit my kids.
Yeah.
But then my turn came, and when I came to Toastmasters, I really understood what Toastmasters is. And I remember telling Dan, who is the president of the club, I want to be a member. What should I do now? He's like, do you have your checkbook? No, I don't. So that's how my journey started.
Fantastic. And what keeps you in Toastmasters?
That's a good question. So I was in Toastmasters in 2016, and I felt this was a really good place for me to develop my social skills. Because I work at a computer engineering. At that time, it was CC manual. So I finished 10 speeches, and I thought, I am done. I did it. And then life took over, and I couldn't come. And then it was during COVID time. I found this very friendly guy. Basically, let me rewind back. I came to know my company is offering Toastmasters, and I thought of coming, but it felt really boring because it was in Zoom. But there was this very enticing person who would clap for everything, who would be so happy, but I would have my Zoom off. But then this person, after a few meetings, told me, "You have a beautiful smile. Will you turn on your camera?" And I was like, somebody really cares for me? And that's when I joined. And then I found out there is pathways. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this, finish it, and get DTM. And that's why I went and I got DTM. And then after DTM, what next? So that's another big question. So now I'm like, okay, let me do contest. And here I am.
Nice, fantastic, very nice. So one thing that Toastmasters offers us, in addition to the speaking training and that practice week in and week out, is a chance to serve the organization as a leader. And my question for you and potential leaders out here is, does being a leader help you also improve your communication skills? Because you've been a division director. Right?
Oh yes, it absolutely does. I became an area director, and then I became a division director. I also got the Best Division of the Year award in 2022-23, and then I became a club extension chair. Yes, it does improve because it's not only prepared speeches, there is more impromptu speaking, and you are meeting a lot of people. And at the same time, I feel I am evolving. The conclusion is Toastmasters is a self-discovery journey. And I get to know what my triggers are, why am I getting triggered, and how I can go past it so that I become and evolve as a better person. And that's what leadership has given me, to see outside my club. I definitely will take leadership opportunity. And I have prioritized. Instead of Netflix binging, I am actually, I'm here giving a speech.
Very nice, very nice. And the obstacle is the way. What obstacles have you encountered in Toastmasters, and how have those obstacles helped you grow as a Toastmaster?
Yes, I have. Yes, obstacle. Yes, in Toastmasters, I was an area director. Sometimes things don't work out the right way. I somehow got unassigned. So I fell on my, I fell flat. And there was this Toastmaster who said, hey, fall backwards so that you can see the stars. And in Toastmasters, you will know, Toastmasters is a learning area. Like, if you fail and you come up, you get a lot more kudos. So do what you can. It's okay to fail, because when you come up, you are much more stronger. So,
very nicely said. Once again, Jamal George.
Thank you.
So we're going to sit in absolute silence, which is, I know, hard for Toastmasters to do. But what we'll do is, when the first contestant shows up, we will introduce that contestant. And then again, we're starting with Division A, those 4 contestants, and then we'll count the ballots, and then we'll do Division A. Contestant 1, Elaine Lung. Elaine Lung.
How often do we receive an obstacle in our way? And how nice is it to be reminded that the obstacle is the way? Thank you, Jamal. First off, when you came up, you just exuded confidence. You looked fantastic. Your smile, your eye contact, you were happy to be here. It was obvious. And then as you got into your speech, you went right into how confident you were. It was a beautiful way to start. And then as you got into your story, you told us a little bit about a life story and how an obstacle became the way. So I have a few feedbacks for you on what went well, and a couple suggestions on how things could go better next time. Because I think this speech should be told, definitely. Do you agree? Yeah, fabulous. It made me feel great. As you came out, you exuded confidence, you got right into it, and Then you gave us the structure. It was very easy to follow your speech, no problem. You had humor, and you also had an ability to show us the emotions that you were feeling. And you went low and you went high, and that contrast makes it interesting. So how do we take this great, solid speech and make it better? I have a suggestion where, as you started, you had a act out where you were definitely being confident, and then you thought you had it all, and then it all fell apart. But we didn't really know why it was so important to you till after. So I thought you could even heighten the stakes some more, if you will, show us how important it is to you and how confident you're gonna get it, and then have it all fall apart. And then I think your audience would feel it even more, and then you could build it from that point. Just a suggestion there. And as you went through your speech, there was a point where you were scrolling through Instagram, and you were at a doubtful point where you're like, I don't believe this Ryan Holiday guy, right? Obstacles away, what's he talking about? And you were like, yeah, I'll download his book. And it was like, you didn't feel like you were quite there yet. You were too happy about something that you didn't quite believe in. So at that point, you could be a little more skeptical and be like, this really gonna work? And then we would enjoy that emotional ride with you, and it'd be a little more credible as you go along. And then finally, as you mapped out the end of your speech, you talked about failure and progress, but it wasn't really as clear because you kind of went back and forward. What if you said, failure is here, this is where I start, this is where she started, right? And this is where I'm going. I'm going to be successful. And you could talk about building things up. I did my resume, I did a lot of, there were some rejections, but I kept building. And then I got to a successful point. Just kind of illustrate it a little more. And I think it would be even more congruent and enjoyable as you mapped it out. So as I listened to you and heard about how the obstacle is the way, it reminded me of that very fact. And I think you should give this to whoever, definitely at contests, at Toastmasters, and also maybe for graduation classes where they're reminded where they need that inspiration. Thank you, Gina.
Ken Combe, contestant number 2, Ken Combe.
Jamal, wow, what a speech about something that we can all relate to. An obstacle, or the obstacle in your case. I thought you had such great humor in the speech. I don't know if I can exactly relate, but Wonder Woman to a woman wondering how they're gonna survive another rejection, and to get that in an email form is so non-personal. I can definitely relate to the different aspects and the feelings that you were conveying to us. I think we all can. You had great vocal variety when you said that the door just felt like it slammed shut of your opportunity. And I loved how you said that it was 3 things that you learned from an Instagram post. Oh my goodness. It's the perception, the will, and the action. That's something that only a person that can see what stands in your way is the way. That sounds like it's like meditation or something, which I don't do, but I can definitely relate to. The other thing that I really loved about the speech is the message. Your message about persevering over all different types of obstacles, and not just sitting around eating pizza and watching videos of fitness. That's something really funny, and again, back to the humor. A couple of things that I was just thinking, the speech was so incorporated all the different things that I would think you need to think about when you're going through this process of trying to get a new job. But maybe during the speech, there was so much information that for me, it was just a little, maybe information overload. Maybe just bringing it down to a few different points would have helped, even though I retained a lot of the information that you have. And then the speed of the speech was also a little on the fast side. But then to take it to the next level, I would say just maybe a little bit more organization in paring that down and in giving those. But overall, I thought the humor, the absolute, all the different references, and the message that you can overcome all the different obstacles in your life, and you just have to persevere and go through it and think positive. Love that message, love your speech, and keep on going. Thank you.
Contestant 3, Santosh Kumar. Santosh Kumar.
My way? No way. I'm going to fail. I was broken into pieces with no peace. After hearing our speaker, prestigious speaker Jomal, I could pick up those pieces, transform from pain into power, from breakdown into breakthrough, from being obstacle into opportunities. What a speech. Today, if I have to summarize in one word, what would it be? She aced it! A, authentic. Moment she stood here, without even opening her mouth, you can see the magic, already her demeanor, charismatic appearance. When she said about her pain, we all can relate the pain, speaking from the heart. She changed a psychic change, click, we all can connect. Throughout her speech, her eyes, her words, her lungs, in every cell in her nervous system, authenticity, real, raw, naked spirit. Now, C, connection. She did not just scratch the surface, she dug deeper, slid the audience into her pocket, and it felt like having a deep tissue massage. Because when we all go through pain and suffering, we need that. She added the beautiful humor when she discovered about the brain tumor brain. So all of a sudden, from breakthrough into brain, we all laughed. That connection was so impressive. Wow. And the next one, E, expressiveness. I have to give you an Oscar award for her facial expression. Not only she painted with beautiful, colorful words, but also picturized the vivid images, dazzling pictures, like a cinematic experience. Actually, I was watching a movie. The time frozen. Now, to elevate the speech, up your speech to the next level, one, when you say above all, in terms of body language, I would say little bit, make it more above all. Give it a pause, right? Another thing is, second P is positioning of stage. I know you used lot of the stage, but I would recommend when life pulls you in a different direction, you can use the 4-dimension view, upward, downward, left, right. Life is pulling me in this direction, that direction. I was reading through the email, it slammed me. You can use it more, stage presence. But I think your biggest strength, you aced it with authentic connection, expressive. And in summary, you did everything. Use the stage and positioning, you'll be good and make it more expressive. Now, if I want to give you an A grade, wow, I will fall down like this, but we are giving a division A star, A++.
One minute of silence, please. Contestant 4, Aryupama Kanakari. Aryupama Kanakari.
From obstacles to opportunity. What a powerful message. And as Toastmasters, what do we want? We want our obstacles to be removed when we are giving a speech and to grow as a speaker. Contest chair, distinguished guests, fellow Toastmasters seated in front of me and zooming in from the comfort of your couch, and Jamal, you conveyed a very beautiful, strong message. How to use setbacks and set them up for success. You used a personal story to relate to this powerful message. You used a story of tribulation to triumph. How you were frustrated with all these rejections from the job. How your daughter's future and her dreams were waiting for to be fulfilled. I could see your voice lower when you were showing frustration, emotional anguish. And you raised your voice when you received email of congratulations. So I could see the vocal variety delivered so beautifully. And you used the stage so beautifully. Your hand gestures were amazing. You said, oh, I went to Instagram. I read the email, so I could see and relate to those gestures very well. Also, when you used humor to connect with us, we were drawn in. You said, we watch fitness videos eating pizza. That was hilarious. What if Jamal came a little closer, lowered her voice, used a pause, and delivered the words? How do we go from setbacks to setting up for success? I call upon each one of you to see what is your setback and turn it into a stepping stone. With such a powerful call to action, your speech would go from being great to greater. To summarize, I loved your message, I loved your humor, your gestures, and if you can improve the call to action and use a pause before you deliver the message, I will be inspired to hear your speeches in future. Thank you, contest chair.
We now ask the Sergeant at Arms, who's quite busy back there, to bring in our first contestant for the Division D evaluation contest. Contestant 1, Misty Forsman. Misty Forsman.
What a wonderful idea. Keep going and progress occurs. Our speaker was excellent in gestures, claps, movement, didn't stay in one spot. Both her hands and her face reflected what she was saying and matched her talk. I particularly loved the humor. Tough times, dive into pizza. Oh, that's not available? Instagram. Her voice had a lot of variability, very subdued, and then very excited. As she progressed along, each time she reached out for another opportunity. What stands in the way is the way. You know, that's pretty frustrating. You want to be a victim for a moment, don't you? This is what happened to me. But she didn't take that route. Well, except for pizza and the Instagram and the moment and the concerns. I mean, there was a lot riding on this. Not just her own advancement, but she was looking for progress for her daughter also. And that suggests values that include her family. And we do progress according to our families and our values. If family is one of your values. Now, what if it isn't? Well, it may not be the top. But maybe your value is learning. And that was an excellent example of learning. What stands in the way is the way. 4 months later, this tiny amount of time, 4 months, and many, many efforts. I was waiting for her to say years. 4 months later, the email came, it said, "Congratulations." And we were right there with her. Congratulations, Mr. Toastmaster.
Contestant 2, David Lescano. David Lescano.
The obstacle is in the way. It is the way. This was an amazing speech by Jamal George. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and dignitaries. I really liked Jamal's speech on how she explained the differences between the obstacle and an opportunity. Because most of us, we see an obstacle as a dead end. It's no way out. And it's the end of the world. But no, she explained that an obstacle is an opportunity where we can grow. She had 3 great things in her speech. Her vocal variety. She explained the differences between how an obstacle from her experience turned into an opportunity for growth. She also had great hand gestures and body movement in her speech. And her story also enhanced her speech that had a message for an audience from beginning to end, a well done structure for her. And she also had great eye contact. She looked at all the audience members, including the Zoom members here, that we have here. Some suggestions I would recommend for her are having probably a question at the beginning of her speech, because her beginning, when she said, "I'm buzzing with experience," it was kind of confusing for me because I'm like, what are you buzzing about? If she had a question, for example, she could have said, does anyone have obstacles in their life? Or have you ever experienced an obstacle in your life? I was like, oh, okay, we all have. And then she can go on her speech. And then for her delivery, I would say adding some props to her speech would enhance her speech as well, because this was an excellent speech. We're adding some props, maybe some confetti or a phone call here would actually make her speech even better compared to, especially with her added humor in her speech. Overall, I really enjoyed Jamal's speech. If she could continue adding those vocal variety, body movements, hand gestures, and that moral of her story that really compelled with all of us, turning an obstacle into an opportunity. And by including those recommendations to her speech, by adding a question at the beginning of her speech, so it can connect from beginning to end, and then by adding some props to her speech, will make a memorable speech for us to remember after today. Back to you, contest chair.
Contestant 3, Kurt Hayashida. Kurt Hayashida.
Good afternoon, Toastmasters, guests, and especially Jamon. Jamon gave an excellent speech that would help people to overcome their obstacles. I'm going to talk about her content and delivery. First of all, I'll start out with her content, the content of her speech. The content of her speech was excellent. It was on a very important topic. Many people are faced with different obstacles. They cannot get a job. Their house is burned down. They're faced with many different challenges, and they need to hear something that can help them to overcome their obstacles and their challenges. And this topic that Jamon was talking about was very edifying because it would help them to overcome any kind of a challenge that they are facing. The introduction of her speech was excellent because it got my attention and it made me interested in what she was talking about. There was a smooth transition from her introduction to the body of the speech, and the body of the speech was excellent. It was well rehearsed, it was well organized. She gave excellent points about how to overcome your challenges. She talked about that book. All those different points that she talked about were very helpful, were very practical. Anyone could implement those points to help them to overcome their obstacles. I don't think anyone would have any problems putting those points into practice. If anyone had any challenges that they were facing, if anyone had any obstacles that they were facing, all they could do is implement those points that Jamon was talking about. Also, the content was very appealing. She gave excellent examples for all the different points of her speech. There were no wasted words. It was filled with very descriptive language and details. One room for improvement would be to talk about what kind of a job interview she was applying to. She could have added that detail to make it even more interesting. Her speech had also an excellent delivery. She had appropriate vocal variety. She was very enthusiastic and she spoke loudly when she was communicating that she was down. She talked a little bit lower, and then she moved appropriately. She used the entire space of the room. Her facial expressions were excellent. Both her speech's content and delivery were excellent. I'm looking forward to the next one. Mr. Toastmaster.
Contestant 4, Aki McKenzie. Aki McKenzie.
Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, and particularly Jamal George, you were excellent tonight. The obstacles did not get in your way. And there are 3 things that I want to say that you did really well. You did stage presence, vocal variety, and your gestures. And I'm going to give you a recommendation in each one of those 3 areas to grow on. In your stage presence, you moved from this side of the room to this side of the room, and you had excellent just overall mannerisms towards the audience. I liked it when you talked about the door slammed and you over here you said slam, but I thought it could have been a little bit better if you were in the middle and you said slam here, since that was the central part of your audience. Your stage presence again was very excellent. It was very spot on. Second, your vocal variety. Your pitch elevated really well. There were some parts in which I thought you could have, when you talked about failure whispers, you could have gotten a little bit softer. And then when you start mentioning all the things that you started doing to get better, you start raising your voice, and I thought you could have raised your voice louder. But there's also a very important thing that you could have done that was done well, but could have been taken to an utmost level, which is pause. Jerzy Kaczynski says the principle of art is to pause. Everything else is just to bypass or not to bypass. So if you would have just given a little bit more of a pregnant pause, that would have given your emphasis on your speech a little bit better. I thought your gestures again were really well done. I thought that was the onomatopoeia when you did the slap there. And I thought when you talked about your shift perception, one thing that you could have done about your shifting perception, you mentioned that when you were Wonder Woman and you did a power stance like that, and you went to Wonder Woman, you could have done like that for your gestures for Wonder Woman. And I thought that could have been a thread throughout your speech, using the power gesture of Wonder Woman when you were speaking in your power, and then when you were feeling a little bit timid, using the Wonder Woman gesture. You could have placed that from this side of the audience to the center and to the end. And like I said, just giving it a little bit of a pause would have been a continual thread throughout your speech of Wonder Woman to the Wondering Woman. But I thought, again, you passed all your obstacles today. You definitely are on your way, and you are breaking through to the other side. Thank you, Jamal.
With that, I would like to welcome up in the order of their appearance our 8 amazing evaluation contestants, starting with Elaine and ending with Aki over there. Give them a big hand. Wow, I didn't even have to tell them how to line up. That's great. So again, I know, really. Oh, but look good. I take your pictures now if you can, because these people are awesome over here. We've got you already passed on. Nice. There we go. What a crowd. What a crowd. Again, a big hand for them. You know, speech contests can seem a little tense, and I don't know, did you find it was kind of tense, waiting around, writing, putting it all together? Was that a tense time for you? Yeah? Oh, good, because now the real pain begins. All right. Elaine Lum.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Which club are you representing today?
Next, I'm sorry, Speakers Forum Toastmasters District 57, we meet right here on 4th. Thank you, sir. Files back there, who provides us with this wonderful event venue. 4th Saturdays, 9 a.m. to noon, and we have food, and it is the best.
Nice,
You should come
fantastic.
visit us.
Elaine, how long have you been in Toastmasters?
2 years shorter than you.
Yes,
Brandon.
indeed. And what important detail did you forget to mention?
I joined in the last century.
No. What's your club number? Oh, I tell you, I don't know. I'm gonna say it, man. All right, fantastic. And you mentioned a little bit about your club there, and gave a little evaluation. I want to ask an evaluation of your home club down in Santa Clara.
Well, I'm in 2 other clubs
Yeah.
too, in 101, and one is in we meet at Willow Glen in San Jose, and it's the Next Step Toastmasters, and that's also 2 hours on a second Sunday. And then the Improv Masters, which meet 2nd and 4th Tuesdays in near Saratoga.
Gotcha. No, very impressive. Thank you so much. And a final question that I'll be asking everybody. How would you evaluate the Laugh Lovers Club?
Oh, God. The best one in Concord, bar none.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, Elaine. We might come back to you. We'll check your questions.
Please, no.
Okay, okay. Ken, which club are you representing
us to
today?
rotate?
No. We'll
You
we'll
should.
stay.
You might want to check the camera.
Oh, my goodness, it's gonna take forever here. Actually, we're gonna be plenty of time, too. So Ken, way to shuffle over there. Which club are you representing today?
FAT Toastmasters, faithful, audacious, and teachable, but I'm changing it to fun, awesome, and talented.
Nice, fantastic. First, Ken, I'm gonna ask you the question, the club number.
Get back to you next.
Yeah, right, fantastic. Now, Ken, how would you evaluate FAT?
Awesome and fun and talented. I mean, that's just what we are. We're fun.
Fantastic
Yeah.
summary.
Yeah, Maria's actually one of our members, and I mean, with a pink jacket, you can't be not fun without, having a good time there.
Gotcha, fantastic. And I saw one of your interests is comic books. Do you have a collection?
I have a obsession. I have a collection.
Give us an approximate number of that you could.
It's not like a box in a room, it's like a room with boxes. It's kind of overtaken, and I need to pare it down. I'm in a 12-step program. Trying to get over it, so. Yeah.
Well, speaking of comic type things, how would you evaluate the Laugh Lovers Toastmasters Club?
I would say you guys are awesome.
Oh, fantastic.
And keeping us laughing all these years.
And you'll be there tomorrow night for our comedy routine special, 6
You need to
o'clock?
send it out. You
Yeah,
need to
okay.
Get the word out.
We'll see you at Concord
Yeah.
Denny's tomorrow night. Once again, Ken
Okay.
Hall, Master,
All right.
fantastic. Santosh Kumar, what is the club you're representing today?
CBC, Citizens for Better Communicator,
Yes.
but I say it's a character building club.
Oh, very good, very good. And I'm going to ask you the number. Blank stares, I love the blank stares. Don't ask me my club number, by the way. Yeah, very good, there we go. That's what he said. All right. And how would you evaluate CBC?
When I joined Toastmasters, I thought I would come and improve my public speaking skills, but in that process, I became a better human being, from being better, from being bitter into better.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing experience, transformative, and the people are very supportive. It's like a family type environment. I can be authentic like a speaker.
Yeah. Nice, nice. Now you brought your props today. Where did you get those? Are you a part-time magician or something?
I got the full set of packs, so when she said aced, so I arranged it. accordingly.
Nice, nice. Very clever, very clever. And how would you evaluate the Laugh Lovers Toastmasters Club, which is meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock for their comedy routine special?
I've heard a lot about it,
Good.
but I haven't attended myself.
Well, you can evaluate tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see what Laugh Lovers. It looks to me,
Yeah.
we can keep laughing forever.
Nice! Yeah, well stated, sir. Thank you, sir. Again, thanks, Anupama, thank you so much for your evaluation speech. And what club are you representing today?
From the corporate club, Stagecoach Warriors,
Nice.
from Wells Fargo.
Yeah, fantastic. And what's the club number?
67 675 310.
Somebody check that, please. We'll do a lot of check. Very important that you use the numbers because all the Wells Fargo clubs are named the same, right? Stagecoach? Okay, gotcha. Fantastic. And how would you evaluate the Stagecoach Warriors?
It's a fun, safe environment. We meet online, and
Yes.
it happens during our office hours. Savita is the senior most member there, and I have learned so much from them. It's been a short time there, but I have gathered so much there.
Fantastic, thanks. And do you like running and traveling? Where have you traveled?
I've traveled to many places in and around the world. In India, a lot of places, Taj Mahal, Jaipur, and Europe. I have been to Egypt.
Nice, nice. And how would you evaluate the Laugh Lovers Toastmasters Club, which is meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock? Yeah, you come to the dinner. Okay, we'll see you there. 1313 William Pass. All right, thank you, guys. Misty Forsman, which club are you representing today?
Representing Leaders Worldwide.
Nice, fantastic. And how would you evaluate Leaders Worldwide?
We are all over the world, literally. Everywhere from parts of the U.S. to Mexico, South America, Pakistan, other parts of the Middle East, UK, Australia, I think Japan also.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're from a lot of different locations.
Fantastic. Now, I was reading your interests and hobbies, but I only got to page 17 here. Because there's quite a long list. Music, swimming, neuroscience, space exploration, brain DNA, river forest, travel into 80 countries, including Antarctica. Did you see a penguin?
I saw 5 kinds of penguins.
Whoa!
I was able to sit on the snow and have a couple of the types of them in my lap. They're
Nice.
pretty fun to shoelaces.
Good to know, good to know. And how would you evaluate my clever Toastmasters?
Amazing.
That's what you have to say. Thank you so much for your All right, David Lazzacano. David, which club are you representing today? And you're looking up your little club number, aren't you?
That's cheating.
My club number is 0.
Nice. That's what I talked about. And how would you evaluate Andy?
It's fantastic.
Cool. Now, I see your home is Tulare?
Yes.
Tulare. So, do you call in to Andy Shea?
Yes, on Zoom.
Yeah, fantastic. How long of a ride was that for you today?
Today was shorter. Last time it was like 4 hours.
Yeah.
It was 3 hours.
Yeah, well, thank you for your dedication there, man. Jeez. What, you read and watch movies. What's your favorite movie of all time?
I like the Avatar, the big guys.
Yeah. That's either the Smurfs or the Tower.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for driving out. And so you can't go home tonight because tomorrow night at 6 o'clock you're going to be at Laugh Level. And how would you evaluate Laugh Level?
I would evaluate them. They're fantastic at NBC Toastmasters.
Yeah, nicely stated. Kurt, thank you so much for your evaluation and being part of the contest today. Which club are you representing today?
Toastmasters in Oakland.
Nice. And how would you evaluate that club?
It's a great club. We meet online. Before COVID, we were meeting in downtown Oakland, but after COVID, we've been meeting online.
Mhm.
A lot of people have been enjoying the club. We give speeches on project management because it has a project management focus. A lot of people there are project managers.
Wow, very fascinating. Gotcha. Do you miss meeting in person at all, or online it's fine just because you're so busy anyway?
I miss it, meeting in person.
Gotcha. Yeah, fantastic. And I see you're an Eagle Scout Award winner. And what was your Eagle Scout project?
It was to remove some carpet in a church and then replace it with new carpet, and then to repair a road that led to a campsite.
Holy cow, yeah, man. So, what do you do in my apartment building? Needs some help. And of course, how would you evaluate Laugh Lovers?
I think it's better than a cow that doesn't give out milk. I also think it's a cracker.
I think I have some more interview questions for you. All right, Aki McKenzie, which club are you representing today?
East Bay Toastmasters.
East Bay Toastmasters. What's their number?
938 now.
Yeah, oh man, fact check. All right, and how would you evaluate East Bay Toastmasters?
Well, East Bay Toastmasters has been around for a while. We have a family atmosphere. We bring in lots of people. A lot of people find us easily on the web because they want to find a Toastmasters group and they see East Bay Toastmasters. So we're usually one of the first facing Toastmasters groups that get people involved. And they really have a good time when they come to our first meeting, and we've been able to maintain a high level of membership.
Nice, fantastic. And of course, this makes sense to me based on your job, but what inspires you most is nature. Why does nature inspire you?
Well, my job is a naturalist, and I work for the East Bay Regional Park District. I work out at Big Break out in Oakley. And nature inspires me because it's so renewing and it's so invigorating, and it's just a place where you can find your own sanctuary.
And how would you evaluate laugh letters?
Well, this is an excellent plug because I will be the host at Laugh Level. I will be the host of the so it will be lots of fun. We have at least 5 to 6 participants, and it's going to be just a time for you to come and let all the worries of the day just melt away.
Nice.
All right.
All right. Well, once again, a big hand for our evaluation contestants. Nice. Whoa, they're so much fun to interview. Wait till you. Why did the cow take singing lessons? It wanted to be a musician. Yeah. Why did the opera singer become a pirate? She wanted to hit the high seas. Okay, my favorite. Okay, what's the difference between a savings bond and a drummer? One will mature and make money. Yeah, that's right. Okay. And for those of you who didn't appreciate those jokes, I can't blame you. Just a quick reminder from history. People told Beethoven that he couldn't be a musician because he was deaf. But did he listen? Okay, enough of that. All right. We now will start our international speech contest for Division A. Contestant 1, Willard Brown. Perfect pedagogy, Willard Brown.
Pedagogy is the art and science of education, and I am a teacher. Pedagogy is my passion. Toastmasters guests, today I'm going to shamelessly advocate for you to bolster table topics in your club. Why? Table topics has perfect pedagogy. First, table topics is a routine. Boring! But it's important. When a learning experience is a routine, the learners can invest all their energy and all their creativity to sharpening their skills and improving their performance. Second, table topics is learning by doing. Every day, everywhere, everyone speaks extemporaneously. We speak impromptu without prior practice and preparation. The education luminary, John Dewey, advocated for learning by doing, saying, education isn't practice for life, isn't preparation for life. Education is life itself. Table topics is life itself. Let me show you. Today in table topics, in our club, we're going to put the impromptu into extemporaneous. When I call you up here, you are going to pick your topic right out of this basket. And whatever you pick, that's your prompt. Think a minute, and then give your speech for 1 to 2 minutes. Give me a thumbs up if you understand that. Will, come on up. Who in here likes these cookies, fortune cookies? They're crispy. They're delicious. But I have mixed feelings about the fortunes. Once I got a fortune, and it said there'd be money in my future. And sure enough, that week, I had to reconcile an annual report, and I searched hours and hours for $22.14 discrepancy. Money was in my future. It burned me. Another time, it gave me 6 lucky numbers. I said, Lotto, here I come. I put them all in, and not 6, not 5, not 4, not 3, not 2, not 1 of those numbers came up. Well, let's see what I have in store today. You are not as good looking as your mom said. Keep me while I'm down. Oh my God. So when it comes to table topics, it's wonderful. But when it comes to fortune cookies, I say let the buyer beware. Cutscene. So table topics is perfect pedagogy. It is a routine. Important. It is living, learning by doing. And third, the feedback is instant. The audience, you laughed, you cried, you snored. I got feedback right away. Next, the timer report. 1 minute and 5 seconds. Shoot! Next, the dreaded, but so important, counter. 1 so, 1 oh. And then, the grammarian. Use stronger words. Replace delicious, for instance, with scrumptious, and everyone will remember that cookie. Tabletop is perfect pedagogy. In every meeting, it gives powerful learning experiences to your members. So bolster it. It's easy. Here's how. First, lead by example. When it's your turn to do table topics, invest your energy and your creativity to make great prompts. And when you're the facilitator, call on people equitably so everyone gets practice. Leverage and utilize the expertise in your club. Schedule those table topics, senior members who will deliver great prompts so that you have high quality extemporaneous speaking practice week after week. And then the third one goes right to the heart of Toastmasters. We are all about a growth mindset. So foster growth in your meetings, in mentoring sessions. Set out the expectations and set them high. Provide tips and ways forward for new members to learn how to make great table topics. And then give feedback. So here, we've got the knowledge that table topics is perfect pedagogy because it's routine, because it's learning by doing, because it's life itself, and because the feedback is important. And you've got the tips to strengthen it. Leading by example, scheduling those strong speakers, leveraging the expertise in your club, and finally, by fostering growth patiently and persistently. You can do it. Over to you, contest master.
Contestant 2, Chung Kui Chi, round and smooth outside, rough and square inside, Chung Kui Chi.
Imagine this, elementary school playground. I was standing with my Wing Chun stance like Steven Seagal. My opponent, Albert, was standing in the Kung Fu stance like Bruce Lee. Contest chair, ladies and gentlemen, that was my first ever school fight, and that was not the last. It all started with a harmless teasing. My muscle is bigger than yours. My knuckle is bigger than rounder than yours. And then it turned into verbal aggression. My muscle can choke your double chin neck. My knuckle can brush your crooked teeth. Suddenly, bam! We charge onto each other. And you would think that our fist would pound, bam, into each other's face. But no, ladies and gentlemen, we are boys. We have very low pain tolerance and we are afraid of blood on our face. Instead, we grab each other in the collar and we spun around like two romantic dancers waltzing around. But then we were in trouble. We were sent to our principal office. That evening, my mom picked me up and said, I will settle you. I was thinking I was bracing for a month of no TV or no games. But that evening, my mom strangely cooked a very sumptuous meal. And I came down, I sat down, and she passed me a chopstick. Of course, we eat a chopstick. And then, as I was eating, then she asked a very important question. Why did you fight with Albert? Before I said anything, she knew I'm going to make excuses. Then she said, son, look at your chopsticks. Don't you see it's round and smooth at the outside? But at the inside, it is rough and square. Why is it? I do not know. You see, when it's for the outside people, round and smooth, you have to be kind. You have to be nice to the people in whatever situation. And for the square and rough is for yourself. That you must be tough and you must improve yourself. And you should not be doing that. That's, boom, blew my mind. My mom was so philosophical, I didn't know that. But then it taught me a lesson that we have to be kind and we have to be tough in ourselves. And that night she asked me, call Albert and apologize. But I did. I called Albert. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Albert, starting from then, was my BFF, best friend forever. Yeah. Well, over the years, I went to middle school and I fell in love with Cindy, the beautiful Cindy. But later she dumped me. I was devastated. It bruised my ego. I had the worst pity party. Of course, I called over the phone, Cindy, please take me back. And I changed my tag. I scolded her. I hate you. You, don't you. But my mom overheard. And that evening, again, I have a sumptuous meal. And she asked me, why were you so mean with Cindy? I was about to say, no, she dumped me. Before I said anything, again, she interrupted. Haven't I taught you? Look at your own chopsticks. That you must treat people with kindness, with a round and smooth outside, and in yourself, you must be smarter and you must improve. And that night, I called up Cindy and I moved on. And I moved on with a lot more girls, and a lot more girls dumped me. It's okay. I was okay because I have this chopstick that I always refer to that I was being dumped. Yeah. As I grew up, I realized that being kind and be tough yourself is not a chopstick user value. It's a universal value. I realized that there are two iconic figures who have this value. The first one is Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, he was in prison for 27 years by the apartheid regime. And he came out of prison and he treated them very well and he united a very polarized country. And the second iconic figure is Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, you know that he actually used passive resistance. And his weapon was hunger strike. I will tell you, I can't even have snack strike. So he has to say hunger strike. But he used that weapon. And do you think Mandela used chopsticks? I think hardly, right? Yeah, maybe. With Xi Jinping having a meal. Or do you think Mahatma Gandhi used chopsticks? No. It is a universal value that you have to treat people with kindness and you have to be tough yourself in no matter what is the situation. Saying that, I see in this room, 70% of you guys are fork eater. You guys don't use chopstick. But I can see all of you are very kind-hearted and have very strong inner strength. Let this chopstick that remind you when you were having a meal that round and smooth outside, treat people with kindness, rough and square, which is very stable inside. Be strong in yourself. Be strong yourself in whatever situation that you are in. And I believe that if you believe in this, that let's together build a world of a kinder society, hand in hand with a strengthening of our inner soul. Thank you very much. Back to you, contestant.
Contestant 3, Shruti Verma. The Dent. The Dent. Shruti Verma.
I can't believe it. Based on various surveys, 30 to 40% of the world population, possibly 3.21 billion people, believe they do not have the power to make a difference. Do you? Mr. Toastmaster and friends, how would you make a difference? How would you change the world? As a kid, I was an average student with an average number of friends. And my little brother, let's just say we got along. Sometimes. I didn't want average. Steve Jobs said we were here to make a difference, to put a dent in the universe. I wanted that. But how? I grew up in a quiet mining town of India. My mother was a demanding basketball coach. Whenever I doubted myself, she said, "Doubt doesn't define you, action does." When I heard that, I was ready to take action. My dad was a supportive, compassionate doctor, 6 feet tall and always impeccably dressed. He was my safe place to run to. My life was simple, no worries. My parents lifted me up through every phase of my life, job, career, future. But I can never forget October 17, 1998. It was a beautiful day of Diwali, the Indian festival of lights. Our house was scrubbed, fresh linen laid, deep rich curtains hung. There were candles and flowers everywhere. The lights, like shining stars, filled me with endless possibilities. I felt like I owned the universe. Have you ever felt that? It was afternoon. I was sitting on the couch listening to music. I saw my dad walk into the room. He was dressed in his white shirt and black pants. He walked to the side table to pick up his glasses. Suddenly, he fell. He wasn't moving. His eyes were closed. He was breathing hard. He was unconscious. I panicked. I ran straight to the hospital. Father's assistant came rushing home, checked my father's pulse, performed CPR. Then they put him in the ambulance and drove away. I stood there watching, hoping. The ambulance was still in view when it stopped and started back. With a heavy heart, I knew he was gone. Isn't it amazing how one person can hold so many lives together? My father had been the glue. He put a dent in our lives which lifted us up, and that made all things possible. Now, everything fell apart. My carefree brother became serious overnight. My mother plunged into a paralyzing depression. We needed someone to lift us up. I had to do something, get a job, but where? How? I felt lost. Have you ever felt lost? Then my friend Lata called. Come, stay with me and get a job here. How will I pay the rent? I don't have enough. Your friendship's enough for me. She lifted me up, so I moved in. After 5 months of rejections, I didn't feel enough at all. My brother reminded me of our father's words. Believe you are capable. Keep going. You'll find a way. Those words put a dent in my despair. They lifted me up. I wrapped his words around me like a comforting shawl. Unexpectedly, I did find a way. I met a young man. He asked me out for coffee. I told him I'd looked for work with smaller companies, but haven't found anything. He said, why not think bigger? Apply at larger companies. You can do it. His faith in me lifted me up and made me want to try. It worked. I got a dream job. 4 years later, I thought even bigger. I married that man. As a student, I didn't want just average. I wanted to put a dent in the universe, make a difference, change the world. And yet, I found people, friends, family, even strangers, who changed my world just by lifting me up. My husband says I've done that for him. Steve Jobs said we were here to make a difference. But sometimes that doesn't take grand gestures. Sometimes small acts are enough. A smile, a hand, a word. How can we change the world or make a real difference? Think about it. Friends, family, the people you meet. What small action can you take today to make a difference in their world? We all have the power to make a difference. And you never know whose world needs a lift up.
Contestant 4, Derek Ho. The door, Derek Ho.
Wait! What are you doing? Open the door! You're crushing his thumb! Let him go now!
Toastmasters, guests, contest, Toastmaster. Do you consider yourself a good leader? Is your leadership good enough to save someone in danger? Back when I was a schoolboy, I befriended someone named Philander. Philander loved playing the Game Boy. Any chance he got, he'd be on that thing. But one day, he would get his thumb stuck in a door. How did that happen? The school started like any other day, except the teacher wanted to do a new activity. That teacher moved a couple of students to stand outside the door while everyone else stood inside. The teacher opened the door just enough to whisper some special instructions. Philander, ever the curious boy, leaned in to eavesdrop. The teacher. What are you doing, Philander? Get back to your seat and stop playing around. Philander tried, but it was stuck. When the teacher moved the door to speak to him, he clamped the door over Philander's thumb, preventing him from going anywhere. The teacher didn't know what to do. Earlier I asked you, how good is your leadership? Really good? Decent? Bad? Back then, my leadership was bad. Worse than bad. Incredibly bad. It becomes its opposite. What does that mean? It means when I tell you something, you don't believe it. It means when I tell you something, you doubt it. It means when I tell you something, you ask somebody else. The teacher that day was dumbstruck. Didn't know what to do. I told that teacher, wait! Open the door! You're crushing his thumb! Let him go now! But he didn't believe me. He doubted me. He asked someone else in the classroom. That person stood up, suggested that he just shut that door all the way. They said it confidently. They said it without a single drop of doubt, like a very good leader. I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe my ears. That student was wrong. Very wrong. But guess what? The teacher decided to shut that door. And it wasn't until Philander let out a horrible scream that the teacher backtracked, put the door back to where it was before. What else was there to do? Moments later, two men crawled in through the window, the only other entrance into the room. They took a look at the situation. They took out their hammers, their screwdrivers, and drove their tools into the heart of the problem. They twisted, they pried, they pulled until Philander was free. Moments later, the paramedics went to check on Philander. He was crying a lot. His thumb was as flat as a 25-cent coin. A couple days later, I saw him. He was back on that Game Boy, as if nothing happened. They say that hindsight is 20/20. Every situation requires a best fit leadership style. In my story, there were 3 leadership styles at play. The one I used is the kind where one person tells another person to do something. This is great when you're giving out orders, but it requires that they respect your authority. How much authority does a little kid have? The leadership style the teacher used was the one where you asked everyone in the room for ideas. This is great if you're trying to reach a consensus. Not so great when you need to take a lot of time to reach a compromise that everybody is satisfied with. Those 2 rescuers, their leadership style is the kind where you look at a situation and you act immediately. This is great when you don't have much time. Not so great because some people might feel left out of the decision-making process. Pick the best fit leadership style. If I knew it back then, I could have saved Philander a lot of pain. Pick the best fit leadership style. If I knew it back then, I could have taken matters into my own hands and opened that door myself. Choose the best fit leadership style. Contest Toastmasters.
begin our ISC Division D contest with our speakers. Contestant 1, Misty Forsman, level up, rewire yourself for optimal health and wealth. Level up, rewire yourself for optimal health and wealth. Misty Forsman.
Have you heard? You only use 10% of your brain? Not true. Totally fake. You use 100% of your brain 100% of the time. It controls everything from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. You only got one. No parts are replaceable. But you can do a lot of things that you may not know how to do. So when I say rewiring, the example I want you to think of first off for health is a man with a goiter, the size of a grapefruit under his chin. 17 minutes later, it's shrinking. 1 hour later, it's gone. That did not take days, that took minutes. We have a brain that is descended to us from the Neolithic time. They had saber-toothed tigers. They had lions. We made some adjustments. You have crazy drivers. You have terrorizing experiences at work. You have, oh my God, the PG&E bill. You are now, here's your spine, this is your head, this is your brain. You are now down here in the amygdala, right back here. The primitive brain, fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Have you heard of fawn? You'll do anything to avoid conflict. Anything. Now, if you're in the car and the driver cuts in front of you, you react immediately. You react. And what do? You don't hit him because it would damage your car. Here's the rewire clue. Bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich. B, breathe. L, look, not at that car, something else. T, touch something, your arm, the dashboard, the seat, anything. T, talk. Now I started with cursing, but I've advanced to, I think I might have done that myself a few times. That'll take you out of the amygdala, hijack. Why do you want to get out? Because when you're in the amygdala, your immune system is shut down. Why? Well, if you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, you don't need an immune system. You need to get So we advance then to the limbic part of the brain. That's where your emotions, a lot of your ideas, your perceptions, and your lifestyle. 93% of all of the illnesses that we deal with are lifestyle. It's not me saying that. Hello, Harvard. Hello, Tufts. Hello, Stanford. The preponderance of medical schools and the neuroscience have proven this. What does that mean? That means that you can change it. And you can change it with rewiring. Let me give you a personal example. Lifestyle. My husband passed away. I had cared for him the last years of his life. He had 3 heart conditions, peripheral artery disease, and dementia. Challenging. My weight ballooned. This is what I did with no diet, rewiring in 6 months. No diet, no exercise program, rewiring. And you know what else? It has stayed off for 7 years. And you can do it too. When we move up to the prefrontal cortex, we do thinking, we do planning, we do complex things. And that's where you want to learn to move to. And if you're stuck and the money is the issue, you're either holding it out, not letting it in, or it comes in and you give it away. You get rid of it. Brain rewiring is portable, self-contained, and effective. Think about that when you think about your next challenges. Not 5 months down the road. Now. Now. And it's learnable. And what you need to do is think about rewiring your brain so that you can ignite positive change at flat speed. That is rewiring your mind for success in health and wealth. Mr. Toastmaster.
Contestant 2, Esther Chambers. Significance. Significance. Esther Chambers.
Paraphrasing Mark Twain, who said, "The 2 most significant parts of your life are, part 1, the day you were born, and part 2, Master Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. The big reveal about part 2 comes last. Part 1, imagine a hospital, my mother, the maternity ward. Where's the doctor? Where's the doctor? Where's the doctor? See this. It is a major national holiday. There's a parade all across town. My mother about to give birth. The doctor on the other side of the parade. Was the doctor gonna make it in time? Where's the doctor? Where? The doctor says, "It's a girl." My entrance into the world. Now come with me, come with me. 6 years later, see my house. There's a photographer there with a great big camera. All this scurrying is going around. I have a brand new nightgown. Somebody's curling my hair. What is going on? The photographer takes family photos and then they march me up to bed. Something important hadn't happened. I jump out of bed. I scamper down the stairs. Mama! Mwah! Flash! My photo. 15 minutes of fame at 6 years old. It was Ebony magazine. My mother was the first female African American vice president in corporate America. I was amazed, of my mother? When you were little, who was the first person you looked up to? For me, it was my mom. I just knew then when I grew up, I was going to be just like my mother. Now see this, my life kind of started out that way. Up, up, up. I went to Oberlin College in Oberlin, Ohio. Up, up, up. We traveled to France to learn French, and oui, je parle français un tout petit peu. I transferred from Oberlin, graduated from UCLA. Now I want to ask you, think back for a moment. When you were young, what was that first thing that you were really excited to do? Now imagine this. After you were going to get that thing, you visualized in your mind that you were going to do incredible things, right? Here I was going up, up, up. The plane suddenly stopped. What happens when a plane stops? Let me tell you what, my life came tumbling down so fast. Wham! I landed in a basement. What had happened? Pregnancy without spouse. Put me straight in a basement. Mom! Mom, I'm here. Esther, darling, you're 25. You're brilliant. I'm remarried. Guess what? You're going to figure it out. Figure it out? I hadn't even seen a baby. All my kids were my age. It was like a scene out of Gone with the Wind. I'd know nothing about birthing no babies. For real. I was in a basement. I was alone. My daughter was born in a birthing center. That means she came home when she was only 12 hours old. I was in a basement with a baby, and guess what else? Bugs! Oh my God, bugs! In a basement with a baby and bugs. Oh, let me ask you, fellow Toastmasters and friends, did you ever have an experience with one day you were here and something happened to you that put your life in a basement experience? Let me tell you something else that fell into that basement. My sense of significance. Because you see, I had connected my sense of self to all these external things. I was going to be like my mom. I was going to be in Ebony magazine. Not in a basement with bugs and a brand new baby. What was I going to do? I can tell you right now that the words of Mark Twain came to me when I heard, wah, wah, wah. This was my daughter's first glorious day. Was I gonna allow us to stay in that basement? Inside my mind, I heard a voice that said, Esther, we are all born significant. Your presence on this planet is your significance. Fellow Toastmasters, I learned that the day that you were born is significant. But Mark Twain said, it is the day that you find out why is what's most important. If anyone here ever has a basement experience, just know your presence on this planet is your significance. Your presence on this planet is your significance.
Contestant 3, E. Tyree Johnson Jr., build your bridge. Build Your Bridge, E. Tyree Johnson, Jr.
According to this invitation, you are all here because we see the groom is here, the bride is here, I'm here. If you don't have one of these, the usher Brendan Murphy will see you out the door to the next Laugh Lovers meeting next Sunday. But before we begin this ceremony, I just want to share with you two stories from the good book. One is when the prophet shares that there was a man who built a house on solid rock. So when the rains came and the winds came and the storms came, the house still stood still. He later on tells about the story of the man who built his house on sand. So when the rains came and the winds came and the storms came, the house fell flat, and great thereof was the fall. Ladies and gentlemen, friends of the bride and groom, I ask you, when the storms come in your life, will you have a solid foundation? Will you feel secure when the storms come in your life? I have to share with you that this moment for the bride and the groom means you are part of their foundation. But when I think of solid foundations, those of us who live here in the Bay Area can think of the Golden Gate Bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge in 1935 was determined to be one of the wonders of the world that would never be built. After 4 years, at an expense of $1.5 million, $35 million, which now translates into $1.5 billion, it was constructed. It was constructed despite the natural currents of the ocean below, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and persistent fog throughout the Bay Area. And despite its cost of $35 million then, unfortunately, it cost 11 men their lives. Now, this bridge was constructed with cables that would surround the world 3 times over, and enough concrete to build a path from New York to San Francisco. It is known as one of the wonders of the world. But what makes it really special is that the Golden Gate Bridge is also very flexible. It is known to sway 20 feet from side to side and float 7 feet up and down. Engineers say it is the safest place to be in a storm in the Bay Area. So when I look out to the northeast and I see the Golden Gate Bridge, I am reminded of a miraculous thing that has been anchored in solid rock, but still floats in the air. Wouldn't it be wonderful if our marriages, our friendships, all of our relationships were anchored like the Golden Gate Bridge? Wouldn't it be wonderful if at times we could also float through our storms and feel secure? My advice to the bride and groom and all of you here who Believe in them. I want you to know storms will come. At some point in time, you will either want to run away, hide away, or strike out. But whatever you do, realize you will not find the answer here. You will find the answer here. That we can all find what makes us knitted together from now until our passing days, with the security and foundation of friendship, hope, and love. I ask that for all of you here on behalf of our bride and groom to realize they are counting on your friendship. They are counting on you being their anchor. So when we move forward from this point, I want you to realize there's a tender place for all of us to grow and to know that the final word from the book is we can rely on faith, friendship, and love. And love is the greatest of these. Love always wins.
Before we get to the contestant interviews, we'd like to call up our division director, Sally Fildry. So we're in some important.
Toastmasters, I would like to ask all of you, how many of you, I know I just said fellow Toastmasters, how many of you are in fact Toastmasters? Okay, leave your hand up. How many of you belong to a Toastmasters club? Anybody? How many of you belong to a Toastmasters club that has no officers? No officers. Why do you suppose that is? A Toastmasters club doesn't run very well without officers. Officers are the leadership of your club. They're what makes your club run. What would happen if you were a member of a district with no leadership? We have a problem in District 57 right now. And I'm not talking about the trio. You know, the trio does the paperwork, for gosh sakes. They're not the ones who keep the district running. The ones that keep the district running and relevant and in touch with each other are the area directors and the division directors. Now, the area directors are typically appointed right after the elections. The division directors are elected. We have 6 divisions. We have 3 division directors on the ballot. 3. Division A does not have a director on the ballot. No division director for Division A. Division C does not have a division director candidate on the ballot, nor does Division F. It's not too late to run from the floor. All you need to do is get a hold of Ed Cullen. How do you do that? You read the Weekly Digest Sunday. It will have everything you need. Now, the only folks that have been notified of who's on the ballot are those people who get to vote. So they are the district council and the club presidents and vice presidents of education. All of the rest of us will be notified Sunday through the Weekly Digest. Please read the Weekly Digest. I'm just saying, okay? I'll change of topic. Okay, change the topic. The district conference. Also, read about that in the weekly digest. May 17th, Vallejo, California Maritime Academy. Have any of you been in Toastmasters for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years? How much do we usually pay to go to the annual conference?
Annual?
Yeah, annual conference once a year.
Over $100.
Yeah. $50 in person, 50. We took a chance this year. We want a lot of people to come. In fact, we need a lot of people to come to break even. Because we didn't want to charge $100 and then $125. $50 until April 19th. Then it goes to 75. This is in person. I don't even want to give you well, for those of you who don't live in the district, yes, we want you to come. For you, those of you who live in the district, we want you to come in person. Those that will be there virtually, $25 for the first period, $50 for the second period. And we have housing available at the academy for Friday night if you want to stay over. $30. Okay. It's limited, so if it all gets sold out, then we have this other place I can't remember, but it's in the weekly digest. Okay. The rooms are double occupancy. It's a school, ladies and gentlemen. It's bunk beds, okay? A school. You can either pay $30 for a room by yourself, or you can pay $30 and then find somebody to share it with them and get the other 15 from them. Okay, that's how it works. The business meeting, for those of you who have a vote, is going to be the Friday night before, on the 16th. We will be voting on the district leadership, and we will be voting on the realignment for this district, the internal realignment. We tried to do almost nothing with moving clubs around. We moved a few, but we're trying to do almost nothing. Why? Because at the end of next year, Toastmasters International is going to be changing everything. So rather than put you through a lot of stress this year, we want to save you and save your stamina for putting up with it at the end. The truth is, for your members who never poke their noses outside the club, they won't even notice a difference. But it is time for all of us to poke our noses outside our clubs and get involved in leadership, get involved in the future of whatever our district looks like after next year. Next year will be the last year of District 57 as we know it now. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I don't know what it's going to be, right? It's going to be different. Okay. And you want to step up and be part of that difference so that you are part of creating whatever that new thing is, as will the folks that will come together with us. And who is us? We don't know that yet, right? So you want to step up, you want to be involved, be an area director. Think about being one of those 3 division directors. Those 2 positions are the glue. They are the glue that keeps our district together. Not me as district director, not the PQD, not the club growth director. We're important in what we do, but we're not the ones that are the glue that keeps our members together and growing and moving forward. And I need to be quiet, so I will only say one sentence. Every Thursday night from 6 to 7:30, Time Travelers, Toastmasters. Check us out.
All right.
Once again, big hand for our district director.
Sally, thank you for your service to the district, and we wish you a smooth conference coming up. I hope everybody's going to be there. It's a beautiful location, especially as the sun goes down. Highly recommend. All right, now for my favorite time to interview our 7 victim contestants. And I'm going to see in the order in which they appear, starting with Willard right here. Right here. Yeah, she's right next to Willard.
So that's Derek right there. You guys are doing great at lining up. And yeah, she coming up here. All right. Fantastic. Everybody's there. Nice. Oh, right. So you ready for the interview? What the hell? Hey now, I'll tell you, Willard Brown, thank you so much. What got you into the ISC this year? What motivated you to jump in and talk about perfect pedagogy?
To jump in, I learned so much from the Toastmaster competitions. I hear great speeches. I get feedback from people in the audience, and I learn so much. And I also can peg my growth over time. However I do this year, it was a lot better than last year.
Fantastic. And I see you represent Castro Valley, and you put the number there too, 961.
We're nerdy.
Yeah, good. I see you to have a lot of interest in everything like that, but I love the quote from Maya Angelou: do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Why is that your favorite quote?
That comes up so much in my life, whether it was when I started teaching in East Oakland. I had so much to learn about the communities there. You know, I'm an old, bald, white guy from rural upstate New York. I wanted to do well, and I had so much to learn. And people leaned in and taught me about the community. I learned from the students, the families. So that is so much. And then we're growth mindset here in Toastmasters. So I think you said it best.
Nice, fantastic. Wishing you good fortune. Thank you so much. Once again, we need it right now. So, Chung Kui Chi, how am I doing?
Good.
Ah, phew, fantastic. You gave me a little phonetic help there. Fantastic. So, Chung, what motivated you to share this speech today and give it in an ISC form?
Yeah, I use chopsticks, so I think that's. I was telling Shantosh that the whole chopstick has a lot of symbolism. So that message I have is just one of symbolism. So I think it's very interesting, and that's why I crafted a story around that one message.
Nice. And how would you teach, say, an Irish American how to use chopsticks?
In case you have to go to Daiso and get a
So, nice.
Not
I-
fucking
I-
material.
See that you live in Rockland, but your club is
Tea Toaster.
Tea Toaster.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And tell us about that club.
It's a very nice club. That's the only club that I know when I migrated from Malaysia. So it was during the pandemic. I don't know where to look for a club, and I see some of the people in the industry in that club. That's how I joined that club.
Nice.
Yeah, if I didn't know, I would have joined a rocking club. People, yeah.
Now you're stuck, man. Thank you so much for driving that. So, Shruti, just to let you guys know, she didn't even bother with the name of her club. She just gave me the number. Very nice. Fantastic. What is the name of your club?
Because for Toastmasters.
What motivated you to jump into the ISC?
I wanted to honor my dad, and I saw this as an opportunity. I just jumped into it.
Yeah, gotcha. And you quote Tony Robbins in here, where focus goes, energy flows, continues on. Why is that your favorite quote?
Well, I'm a distracted person. If I don't have a focus, I'll be falling off the cliff. So it helps me, keep looking forward.
Thank you very much. And thank you for your powerful story. Okay, that wasn't about you. Okay, great. So, Derek Ho, what motivated you to jump into the ISC discussion?
Interesting. I was actually planning on being a chief judge at some point.
but then someone took my job.
Oh my God. Is that person in the audience right now? Okay. Very nice, very nice. And tell us about CBC for you.
CBC. The thing I like about CBC is that the speeches they give tend to be more theatrical. It's exciting to me. I love the storytelling. And CBC tends to give a lot of those. You coming back for more?
Yeah, gotcha. And I see that your occupation isn't in the theater, it's a software developer. How did you get into that theatrical side?
Theatrical side. I think it was Toastmasters. I noticed that everyone was doing it and you just had no choice but to also do it.
Peer pressure, good or bad, I'm not sure. Okay, and your favorite quote, and I was thinking what Ralph Smedley, if he'd said this, but it says, "Speak softly and carry a Toastmaster." Where does that quote come from? What does it mean to you?
Right. It's actually based off another quote. Speak softly and carry a big stick. But I don't want that kind of image. I like the kind of leadership where you're somebody that lifts someone up, allowing them to reach new heights. That's what I mean by carrying another Toastmaster.
Gotcha. Thank you. Our next Division A director. So Misty, back-to-back contest, how you feeling? Do you want to go for a third contest? We can throw in a table topics contest for you. Again, you're part of Leaders Worldwide, and what made you want to not only do the evaluation contest, but the ISC?
Well, it never hurts to be pushed. So the evaluation contest came that way. The speaker part for me is a passion I have for sharing the information that I have, that I've 2 PhDs and 14 certifications and all the stuff that I've done. But it's what people can take and use. The same reason I started a publishing company, so that the information could get out to more people. Better health, better wealth, better relationships, better life.
Nice, very nice. And I do like your quote here. I've heard it before, but I don't know if you want to share it. Life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but
by the moments that leave you breathless.
and why did you choose that quote of the many quotes you've been exposed to?
You know, one of the things I did is work with dolphins. You think it's hard to talk to people? But so many things in that experience left me breathless. The whole idea of intelligence not connected with fun. No fun. No interaction, moving things around in the environment. And yet, big complex brain.
Nice, very interesting.
And they have a whole set of relationships and activities. I think if there's an ET that's in the or on the earth, it's the dolphins and whales.
Very good, Esther. Thank you. And as we put you at the end of the line, stay away, keep your thumbs away from Derek Cohen. Esther, East Bay Toastmasters, 9389. And what made you want to do the ISC with this?
I've been in Toastmasters for at least 30 years. After a while, you really need to push yourself, because when you're in it just year after year, you can get kind of complacent with it. But one of the things that I find about preparing for a speech is that it's pressure. It's a lot of pressure. And my heart was pounding out of my ears as I was standing up. And it is great practice. It is incredible practice. So it's the one way I would encourage everyone to participate in a contest because it makes you do things that left on your own, you'll think about doing it, you'll want to do it, but you know, who said looking at Netflix and eating pizza? So it that, and then also I've also been into it for so long. I have a desire to start my own communications company.
Right, right.
So I do have a desire to help people and reach out to people and take some of the things that I've learned over all these years through Toastmasters and help.
Nice, fantastic. Thank you. And I love the Mark Twain quote that you use as the foundation for your speech, but I also like this one. Happiness was born a twin.
It's something my mother used to say, and it goes, to have joy, one must share it. Happiness was born a twin. And my mother loved that quote because she loved sharing things. Sometimes she would just be spontaneous. Like when we moved to Southern California, there's this thing where you can sleep out on the street and watch the parade. The first time my mother saw that, she opened the door. She literally threw all of us out in the street. Daddy, that's fun. We wrote that. We went home and it was all about sharing because she just felt that there are these moments, kind of like the breathless quote, you know, that when you share it with other people, it just creates so much more joy.
Fantastic. Wishing you much happiness. And for a bridge builder, what motivated you to do an ISC contest this season?
My speech was actually based on a real life experience. I also, in my real job, but I also served as a lay minister in United Methodist Church. And a gentleman who passed away about 2 years ago had imparted upon his son to have me marry him. So I did this. This was my very first, I've done several funerals, but this was my very first wedding. And it was October up at the St. Francis. And so it just really moved me that in honor of Johnson Ojo, who I didn't mention anything, but in honor of Johnson Ojo, his son Justice Ojo asked me to perform that.
Nice, fantastic. Now, and you're representing Toastmasters Leadership Club. What is that?
Toastmasters Leadership Club fits its name. We are trying to embody the model that Toastmasters has, where leaders are born or made, but where leaders are made. And I want to say that we bring something special toward leadership, just like Laugh Lovers does for humor. We have a leadership moment, which we share in addition to going through all the other things. And we really, Sally's not here. Oh, there she is. But we really encourage everyone who's part of district leadership participate. We give you guidance in your high performance leadership project, your DTM project, and any other venue that you want to do to grow in leadership, not just in Toastmasters, but in your career and in your friendships and relationships.
Fantastic. Thank you for your leadership with the district. At this point, I'm going to stop talking and go take a nap, but let me first return control to our two division directors. Maureen and Dan.
So at this time, I'm going to announce the winners for the Division A evaluation contest. Our third place winner is Ken Holmes. Stand here. You want to take a picture? Yeah.
Okay.
Please put the medal around his neck.
Oh, yes.
All the time.
You got your glasses. Yeah, she's made you a challenge. You need to show up everywhere you go. Put that all around your
I will never take it off.
Is that recorded?
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Cool.
Okay. Wait, are you gonna be in the?
So you can see the picture. Is it turned around or you just see the writing on it?
And you gotta, you gotta lower
Paper.
your thing.
Lower the
down.
word, please.
No, the medal. The medal shows to see.
You can hold the medal.
You just hold it.
Yeah, just.
Put it around your Sally. Okay, good. Nice to see you. Okay. I'm sure they can see the words on the picture.
Our second place winner for the Division A evaluation contest is Anupama Katakar.
Put the medal on.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Is your writing on the right side? Okay. Is that the, they want to see the engraved stuff? Okay.
Our first place winner for the Division A evaluation contest. Send on you.
Good job. Yeah.
Together of the winners.
And the third, you should go that. Oh.
Third, next to Maureen.
Yeah, third day for Maureen. He does that. He works. He's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, let's do this.
Okay, thank you.
Now, we're moving on to the evaluation contest winners for Division D. So third place, so drum roll, please.
I know you know how to put it on.
Yes.
Sure. Second place evaluation. David Lombardo.
You want to put it on?
Put him on. And finally, first place winner for Division D. Kinsey.
Yeah. The three of you, so 3, 2, I can get on the other side of David, please. Yeah.
Do this one.
Thank you. All right. For the Division A International Speech Contest, our third place winner is Willard Brown. Get it on? I don't want to pull it. And put my glasses on your head.
Thank you.
Upside down.
Our second place winner is Shruti Verma. I'll get out of the picture. Okay, here we go. Our first place winner of the Division and International Speech Contest is Chung Fu Cheese. Yeah. Do a group photo?
Oh, yes.
Now, last but certainly not least, we're moving on to the results for the Division D International Speech Contest. Okay, so it's ready. Now for our second place winner. Irene Johnson.
I was worried about glasses.
Okay. We're all doing such a great job. Our first place winner in Division D for the International Speech Contest has Chambers.
Over there. Yeah. Thank you. Ah, here we go. I was like, I have notes. So that is all of our winners for our contest today. I thank you all for participating. We really enjoyed all your speeches and evaluations. I also want to issue a thank you to all of our judges, timers, ballot counters, our tech people, our Chief Judge Tong Yin, and our Sergeant at Arms, Brendan for being our Toastmaster. Thank you so much. Okay, so going forward, it's so fun. And especially to Nas and to this facility. This is a great room to do this in. And especially, I want to thank Maureen because we could not have done this without each other. I came 1,800 miles and 45 minutes driving to get here today. Because I live in Arkansas. Mark has done so much of the groundwork, finding a location, getting it set up. So thank you so much. Wow. For all of our functionaries who have participated, please see Maureen at the back because she has some little gifts for you. Thank you so much.